Hey guys, so finally my iPhone 11 Pro Max arrived just 2 days ago. I thought I'd make a quick unboxing with the new case as well that came with it, and probably talk a little bit about the iPhone X and the Note 10 Plus as a comparison between the two. So let's kind of go through a little quick unboxing now with the iPhone 11, and I thought I would just show you guys, if anyone remembers this OG Nokia phone. I found it randomly in my cupboard, so I thought I'd just quickly show it if anyone remembers it. Just keep this to the side. Right, so let's open this quickly just so you guys can see what you get in the box. As you can see, by the way, the design of the box is really nice. You have a nice indentation of the actual image of the phone, and this is the midnight green variant of the 3 or 4 colors that are available. And yeah, this is the phone itself, guys. As you can see, it's such a nice finish. When you see it in person, it definitely does pop out more than just kind of seeing it through renders or images. You can see it's a matte finish on the back, and you have the famous 3 cameras on the top left side. Definitely does look a lot better in person, guys. So just if you're considering it, do go and visit in the store, I think, and I'm sure it'll change your mind if you're planning to upgrade. Now, you do have catalogs as well on the inside, typical of Apple, and the EarPods, which are lightning cable connection to the actual phone, which I'm sure people don't really use these days, but that is there as well, which is nice. The cable that does come with it has a USB Type-C connection to the actual charger and the lightning cable there. So I think Apple's probably gonna eventually switch to the USB Type-C, maybe in the next generation, because it's kind of long overdue, to be honest. And the charger given is something interesting. It's a fast charge, which is definitely a good thing because, you know, the competitors such as Samsung and Huawei are giving fast charges with it. So Apple has had to kind of like step up their game, and it's good to kind of have this. I have used it myself, and I'm getting in like 15 minutes, almost half the battery kind of already charged. So that's definitely a cool plus there for anyone. Yeah, and that's pretty much it in terms of the unboxing, guys. What I did get was the, as I said, midnight green. It is the 256 gigabyte. I'm not sure why they have 64 gigabytes even in the market. I mean, 64 gigabytes with these types of phones, especially with video recording, is kind of useless. So I'm not, that was there, but I'm pretty sure everyone is going to go generally for the 256 or the 512. You do have iCloud as well, so that's something to consider as well. Now, I'll quickly go through the case, which is the leather case variation of it. There are silicone cases as well, which, to be honest, if you're going for something for the long run, I think that the silicone case is probably a better choice. As you can see here with my iPhone X, the back cover of the case is just really like degraded over time. So it's not something that will last as long as the other cases that are there, but it is a nicer finish and a more luxurious case. Actually, before I put this on, we can just do a quick comparison between the two phones here. Now, as you can see from the back end of the iPhone X and the iPhone 11, the finish on the X is a shiny black back panel made of glass, and it is a nice, but it is very fingerprint prone, while on the iPhone 11 you have a really nice matte finish, which is a green, and I think this is the most popular color, to be honest, because it was something different. At the top, in terms of the other difference, is the cameras at the top left, which you can see here, which is made of one piece of glass. I believe it's glass or plastic. You've got the 3 different arrays of the cameras there, which has different versions of sensors and depth sensors and things like that. You do have wide angle mode as well, which is finally there with an Apple product. I don't know why, but I feel like with this camera setup, I feel more kind of worried if I do keep it on a table straight down, because it just looks a little bit more delicate than what I have here, for example, on the Note 10 Plus, which is a little bit more flush. I'm not sure if there are any kind of like screen protectors for the cameras. That's probably something I'll have to look at and see if I feel like it might be a problem. Now, in terms of the actual phone itself, there's really no difference in terms of the front side. It's basically a carbon copy of the X, as you can see here. It's just slightly bigger. Now, in terms of the front, you can see that it's pretty much a carbon copy. You have the famous notch at the top. The design is pretty much the same. Apple hasn't really changed much in terms of the design apart from the back finish panel and the actual camera setup. So that's something to kind of consider. I think possibly the next generation is going to be a significant difference. So, I mean, in my opinion, I don't really feel like there is much need for an upgrade. If you do have an X, for example, or the XS Max, which is pretty much almost the same phone, I only had to do it because my X had water damage and it was getting a bit difficult to type and things like that. So I just took that as an excuse to kind of upgrade. But I feel like the next generation is definitely going to be the one to look out for, guys. Now, in terms of the differences between the Note 10 Plus and the 11 Pro Max, you can see that there are slight differences. The width is pretty much almost the same. in terms of width, it's almost the same, but the height is slightly more on the Note 10 Plus. The 11 Pro does feel a little bit heavier than the Note, which is a bit weird to say, considering Apple normally kind of go for the most thinnest or the most lightest. There have been certain changes they've made in terms of battery life extension and things like that, which I definitely prefer over having just a phone that's a bit more lighter. In terms of thickness, they're pretty much almost the same, guys. There's not much difference. I think Apple's iPhone might be a little bit more thicker, but not much else. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy with the phone itself, guys. You can see both the finishes at the back have a nice Aura Glow finish on the Note 10 Plus and the matte finish on the iPhone 11. Let's put this to the side. Now, just so you guys can see how the phone looks with the case. And I think this case is really nice because it kind of like goes well with the actual finish of the back, and as you can see, the green cutout part does kind of like pop out there, and it's a really nice leather finish, guys. It's very thin. It doesn't add much else to the actual thickness of the phone, so that's a cool thing I like about the case. You have the cutouts as well for the buttons on the side, and obviously just an open panel on the bottom side. Now, it does add a bit of a lip here, which is cool because like if you do have it on the table, it's not going to kind of damage the screen or anything. I'm going to definitely get a screen protector for sure for this. There is a cutout for the cameras here, as you can see, which is a nice flush finish, but I do kind of feel a little bit uneasy kind of putting it on the ground this way. I've even been in the gym where I've kind of been like checking if, you know, the surface is clean enough and things like that. So it's something I guess I'll have to get used to. But right, so in terms of the phone, guys, there's not much really to talk about. I mean, the phone itself is pretty much a carbon copy of the last generation. In terms of the XS Max, you're going to have 4 to 5 hours more battery life, and that's a huge jump up, and that's something I really like because my Note 10 Plus, for example, has great battery life, and I always found that iPhone products were always lacking in the battery aspect. So that's a huge benefit there. I think I'm getting close to almost 2 days of usage, and this is my personal phone while the Note 10 is my work. That's a cool thing there for sure. I don't have to keep charging it, but the other thing is that the fast charger there, you're gonna get like almost 50% battery life in like 10-15 minutes. So that's all these different small advantages that have come up. Let me move the box there so you guys can just have a view of the phone. One thing to also say is that the Face ID has been improved, so it's about 30% quicker. You can kind of just see here, I can actually notice that over the X, definitely for sure. The good thing is that because Face ID has been improved, the whole aspect of logging into pages with username and passwords can be linked to the Face ID, so you can have a quick, seamless process to kind of log in every single page possible, as long as you kind of save it for that actual page. And that's something that I find that is very useful with the whole ecosystem here. Right, guys, so the camera itself has significantly been improved, and that's something I really have been looking forward to with an Apple product for a long time. They've really been in a catch-up game with Samsung and Huawei, and finally they have been able to kind of do that. You do have wide angle finally, and you have optical zoom modes. The video has been improved as well. Slow-mo has also been improved. So what you're getting here is a really good camera-based phone, and I think Apple's kind of like changing their whole mentality of phones more towards like camera and photography. Your Instagram game is definitely going to be improved. I did take some pictures and videos and posted them on Instagram, and actually people did notice the difference and mentioned to me like, how did you take that video, for example? And that's something that was not something I expected, but it did happen. The cool thing is with the video mode, when you do have the kind of zoom out wide angle, it kind of looks like a GoPro. So like while you're in a car, for example, and you're taking a video, it looks really like cinematic, and that's something that a lot of people started commenting and saying like, how are you able to do that? Are you using a GoPro? So that's definitely an improvement. If people are even noticing it, that's obviously something that is good to have. Now, that was a small brief on the camera. I will have to go through a little bit more in terms of testing, but just a brief thing on the camera itself. That's pretty much most of the stuff on the camera. There's a lot of improvements that have been taken place, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit more testing on that. But in terms of feedback of what people have seen just from Instagram posts and things like that, it's definitely something that people will notice. A small thing also is if you are taking like the optical zoom, you'll be able to see the top and bottom of what you would be seeing if you kind of zoom back out. So like you can see here, the same on the top part is showing there. So that's something to just have more control over your photography and videos as well. The operating system has improved to OIS 13. There are small things that have been changed. The whole aspect of the phone has been improved in terms of speed. So the new chipset that they're using is definitely a lot more quicker. I've noticed even opening pages, watching videos, there is a huge improvement over my X version that I've been using for a while, and I thought the X was pretty quick. Over my Note 10 Plus, I find that this phone is quicker. And considering that the Note 10 Plus has 8 GB of RAM and this has 4, It's a bit surprising considering it's just Apple being very good in terms of optimizing the whole ecosystem that they're using here. In terms of user experience, top notch. I would say 10 out of 10 to be honest in terms of user experience, and that's something Apple's very good at. In terms of innovation, I feel like they're kind of lacking, but you know, these things that they're trying to kind of do is definitely improvements to kind of the user experience there. I'm going to break down the summary now into 3 points. So the camera has been improved significantly over the last generation, and I feel like as a contender, Apple's going to be in the top 3 now, if not the top. Now we're going to have to see what happens with the Pixel phones, but that's going to be something to just kind of consider later on. The battery life, as I said, huge improvement. You're going to get maybe close to 2 days while having a fast charger as well. This phone is never going to really die. While with the X, I found that was lacking, especially on the battery side. Number 2 is the speed, and the Face ID has been significantly improved as well. So you're going to have faster Face ID recognition. The speed of the phone with the new chipset is great. It's going to be really good for gaming. It's going to be really good for watching movies. The screen quality has been improved as well. So you're going to have really high brightness levels. If I do increase the brightness here, I'm sure the screen will go black. But you can see here, if you're going to be in like a very sunny area, you can increase the brightness really high. You're going to be able to see the whole screen very clearly because of the high nits on the brightness level. And overall, with the whole speed aspect, the whole phone as a package is a great phone to have. Now, whether you want to upgrade, that's up to you. As I said, from what I'm used to right now in terms of the last 2 days of it, I'm really happy with the phone. But if you guys have any questions, let me know. As I said, I'm still learning. I'm still doing a few things in terms of the camera side. Everything else is pretty much the same, guys. But if you have any comments or anything, or any advice as well from your side would be good, drop a comment below. Like and subscribe if this has been useful, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Cheers.